Hey everybody, Doug here from 2 Plus Tough. So sorry for running a little bit late today. I just flew back from Iowa, seeing some family, and so as I promised, I'm gonna go ahead and dive into the Adepticon stuff. I know it's a little bit late, but if you ever see something that like is news going on, and you're like, Doug should be talking about this. How come he's not? I probably am just away from my computer a little bit, and you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at the 2 Plus Tough page to stay up to date. So I'm just going to ramble for a second until the chat gets somebody in there. If someone can just tell me if the audio and video is doing okay. And as soon as that is done, we will head over to the announcement page, which I'm very excited about. A lot of stuff came out. I had dinner with a bunch of family members, and the whole time my phone was just blowing up. And so I was just so excited to hop back over and start chatting with people, basically. So I'll wait for someone just to tell me if my audio and visuals are looking good. But beyond that, it is extremely exciting. And then I know this is a little bit late. Okay, cool. Everybody just popped in all at once. There's like a 40-second delay. But here we go. Like I said, whenever I do these kinds of things, there are a lot of people who just don't have the capacity because of their jobs or just lifestyles to sit down and read the articles. So we read them and we discuss things that are in there. And typically the way I do it is I go through the entire article at once, and then I kind of go backward and we kind of dissect things one by one. So that's exactly what we're going to do. If you are late to the party like I am when it comes to this kind of stuff, it is all the big news. This is the name of the article right here. Also, a fun fact, right now they're streaming, I think, the AOS 2-player tournament, which is what I'm going to be doing with Jack from Rerolling Ones at Nova. So yeah. So it jumps right in there. Just to give you a brief overview of what we're going to be doing. So they have all the Age of Sigmar stuff up front, which is good because I think the last preview thing was very light on the Age of Sigmar. They did Age of Sigmar front and center, and then we'll skip below and talk about some more stuff. So, Warhammer Age of Sigmar, Forbidden Power. First up, just what is Forbidden Power? It's time to find out. And I'm going to, give me 1 second to make sure my volumes do not blast your eardrums. There we go. I'm just going to have this stuff kind of playing in the background. And actually do that so the speaker doesn't reverb it. But what we're looking at here is, it seems obviously like a bunch of new endless spells. Stuff I'm going to talk about. They have pictures down below. But it just kind of seems like the next evolution. And what I get from this is the fact that when we look at malign sorcery, it was power just unleashed everywhere, right? And a few of those spells have, we'll say, they lean a certain direction. So like the Quicksilver Swords had do extra damage against chaos stuff, right? They're kind of an endless spell that kind of hates chaos. But all of the spells, as we'll see here in a second, the vast majority of them seem very death-centric. And so that's exciting to me, mainly because I wonder if Nagash is going to do something to steer that overwhelming massive power in Death's direction, so it's continuing with his power play. So that's what we have here. Excuse me. Let's see here. There's a great and ancient power hidden in the realms. Power never meant for mortals. Long ago in the Age of Myth, Sigmar sought to hide these forces in the Storm Vaults, behind magical defenses with the help of Teclis. I like that he's showing up. Now the seals are breaking, and armies from every Grand Alliance seek to claim these spoils as their own. Archaic and terrible weapons, the spirits of ancient warriors, timeless relics in Forbidden Power. So not just endless spells, I'm also wondering if it has new artifacts and realm stuff like that. So that is very, very exciting. I'm going to come back to the chat once I finish this section on this. Let's blow up this picture here. Okay, so we have Night Haunt on the left. We have Lady Ollander right there, looking fly as always. We have the skeletal bridge thing up here on the top, which I'm very excited for. Got some Stormcast on the right. This looks like a ferryman on the river Styx right here. I like that model, and I'm very excited for that. And of course, this kind of weird construct behind them, which I would have thought was something that belonged more with like Sigmar's forces, but everything else here is kind of death themed. One thing I want to take a look at this. When I first looked at this, I thought it was not a spell or something like that. I thought it was a terrain piece. And it might be. Like, I have no idea what this thing is. kind of like when we first saw the purple sun, there's no context, to understand. It might be a piece of terrain, but what I found interesting was I wonder if these legs, because of the square rigidness, they almost look like they might be able to line up with the Warcry terrain we saw in our last preview. So that'd be kind of cool if you could have this thing fit in there somewhere. I think that'd be neat. So yeah, there's that thing. There's these three, and I know there's two parts of this skeletal bridge, which I think looks amazing. Like, this is the kind of thing that you would use just for background material. You don't have to use it as an endless spell. It's just really cool. Looks like two mini black pyramids and another wall, but this wall doesn't seem as fun as the crystal wall. So I don't know. Sorry, I got back to Seattle, and of course my allergies started acting up again as soon as I got back here. We have a straight up Nagash head, which is really cool. I assume all armies of death can probably wield that. I'm not sure if good guys can. That'd be interesting. And this one is one of my favorites, and that's just the ferryman on what I'm calling the river Styx, right? The guy who takes people to death. I like it. Let's see. Forbidden Power contains new endless spells usable by any army. Okay, so maybe the Nagash's head can be wielded by anybody. Representing the dark magics of Shyish unleashed during the Soul Wars. Sinister, deadly, and tactically invaluable in the right hands. These endless spells offer enormous power if you're willing to pay the price. So I'm interesting when it says pay the price. Are we still talking points, or are we talking more like it hurts everything around you, or there's a cost benefit associated with it? So that's kind of cool. Every army will get a chance to harness the power of the Realm of Death and seek out the fell power long hidden within the realms. Stay tuned for more Forbidden Power soon. Okay, so yeah, they just wanted to show us some of the models. I think this is going to be significantly fewer models than Malign Sorcery, but I think that's a great baseline set, and this is kind of building off of that, and so that's really, really cool. What I'm interested in is, one, is this going to replace Malign Sorcery on some level? And two, what I want, obviously, is that it should be a separate thing. You shouldn't have to have that to be able to play this. Which I can't imagine that'd be very difficult, but someone's gonna pop in the chat here because oh my gosh, we're blowing up. Sweet, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Let's see here, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hello. Sorry, Kenzie. Sorry, it wasn't supposed to be till later. Yeah, I tried to do it actually earlier to catch my friends over in Europe. I'm sorry if it's a little bit late. We flew in. We got home at 1 in the morning and then had to shower because you get that crud from an airplane, and it's just been a rough start. we both feel hungover even though we're not drinking. Tomb King Tristan, I kind of thought of Everything Is Awesome will be playing in the background at full blast. Exactly, everything is awesome. We'll talk about Fire Slayers here in a second. Let's see, the Sequitur on Forbidden Power. Voted well for no Stormcast this year. Can't wait to save money. Yes, the fact that there's no new units associated. I don't think there's anything special at the Stormcast in this picture. Those are all from the Soul Wars set, which makes sense. I mean, all of their dialogue so far has been saying expansion or the next step in Soul Wars specifically. So I'm sure that those units are still the baseline for what's going on, or at least this chapter. Okay, and some people are jumping ahead to chatting about their next topics. I know you've all seen it, but we're going to go through nice and slow for those folks who can't sit and read it all. So, okay. Dave, is there another reveal tonight? No, there's no. They just do their one big preview thing. And there might be some interviews here and there where, some of the folks can talk about stuff, but there's nothing quite like this. We're pretty much done news-wise. I think mostly until Nova. If there's another event in the middle, I can't think of it. So, okay. So we're going to that. And it says the next battletome. So we're in the next thing. So I'm going to pause on that comment and we'll come right back and pick up there. Earlier this year at the Las Vegas Open, we promised you'd be seeing at least one new battletome for every Grand Alliance this year. And now we can reveal the next one. Now, here's the thing. They promised that, but they've already achieved it, right? Because we've already gotten, Skaven for Chaos, Gloomspite Gets for Destruction, Flesh Eater Quartz for death. I'm sorry, my brain's still not functioning. And with this, they will have met that requirement. So technically, they could not make any more battle tomes this year. But whatever. That was funny. So let's take a look at this. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I was very disappointed that Johnny Cash's Ring of Fire was not playing with this particular graphic. Got some beautiful Fire Slayers here. And there's pictures down below we're gonna pull up and chat about this. Magmic Invocations. The Fury of the Forge. Looking fly. Pause. I don't know if anyone else can see this. I'll go full screen with it. Oh, I can't. For some reason, it's embedded weird. This dragon head statue, I want that as my terrain piece, but go on. Okay. Looking good. All right. So, Duarden. They're so hot right now, the forthcoming battletome Fire Slayers forges your army anew with updated allegiance abilities and war scrolls, plus the ability to dedicate your army to one of the legendary Fire Slayer lodges. That's super exciting because some of those lodges sounded really cool. I talked about it when I did the lore series for that army of like, you know, some of these sound really cool, but they only give them like 3 sentences of lore, right? They're from this place and they like this color. That's pretty much it. But fleshing them out would be amazing. This book breathes new life into the Fire Slayers, offering a wider range of army compositions, thank God, than ever before. From rampaging packs of magma droths to serried lines of magma spewing Arc Hearthguard, which we were never lacking for, to be honest with you. Battletome Fire Slayers also sheds new light on the history of these gold-seeking mercenaries and establishes them as a major player in the unfolding narrative of the Soul Wars. Now, that's exactly what it needed to do. That last sentence of just, including them in the ongoing story, I think is super important because they were really important during the Rumgate Wars and then they just lost all relevance. Kind of like a lot of armies, to be honest with you. Kind of like Ironjaw's in the same boat, I think. Let's see. New terrain and a Magmic Invocation. Fiery equivalents to endless spells summoned to battle by Rune Masters and Rune Smiters. That's really cool because right now there was I can't remember which one it was. Rune Masters and Rune Smiters. One of those was like that you almost never take. But that's really cool. There's multiple ways to access those things. Make your Fire Slayers even deadlier. After all, there are a few problems in the battlefield that can't be solved by a rampaging magical salamander. So let's take a look at these things. First, we have their big salamander dude, and he's looking neat. We're going to see a bevy of lava magma tutorials popping up on YouTube to get this guy looking good. I like him. I mean, it's kind of a weird angle. The problem with this is I feel like I don't have a good picture of what he really looks like because it's all magma. Like I can see, I think this is the end of his jaw right here. I'm trying to trail it. I don't think we'll see the full badassery until we get a 360 view, but I think he looks really, really neat. And the next one is the Forge. Now, I have some mixed thoughts on this. This angle of the Forge doesn't super impress me. I like it. It's a cool building, but actually if we look at that video, let me see if I can find the here we go. They do a 360 and I think the back of the thing looks far more interesting than the front. Look at that. So you don't see any of this on the front of the thing, but I love the inclusion of all the copper and the brass and the mechanics and this billows thing here on the bottom, which my cursor is blocking up, and the brickwork. Like I think the back of the terrain piece is far more visually interesting than the front, and I think that's kind of hilarious. Of course, it's the side that you as the player will probably be looking at all game, so I guess that pans out. So, Battletome Fire Slayers will be available soon, and we'll be previewing it in detail closer to its release. So, let's talk about what we know about Fire Slayers, and kind of really quickly put a few hopes and dreams together. One, I want there to be real tutorials about how to paint that magma beast, how to get some cool magma lava effects, and I want some... what I really want is a tutorial from GW on how they make these fallen monument things, because they're relevant for a lot of armies. I mean, because they would even look good with a Gloomspite Gitz army, because all the Troggoths are holding broken Dwarden statues. I think that would be really, really cool. So there's that. Those two things are the, I don't know, things that I want as far as tutorials go. The way the army functions right now, to my understanding, is the best thing you can do to play it is just take loads and loads of Volkite Berserkers, because of their super save. They're just so much harder to chew through than you would think by them being running around naked. As far as what I want to be good, I really want the elite melee guys who have like the I can't, all their names are so similar. It's kind of like Space Wolves, where you struggle to, is it Arc Berserkers? I don't know, the elite versions. The elite melee dudes are coming in unit of 5. You can build them as the guys who have like the magma pikes. You can spit lava, or you can build them as a melee variant. I want that melee variant to be far more relevant. Beyond that, make the command abilities fun, because right now a lot of them aren't. And yeah, give me a reason to take Rune Smiters, I think is the one that people don't usually do. So yeah, let's see here. I'm going to pause here and we're just going to chat about, I'll see what the chat's been going on about Fire Slayer. So Clancy Murphy, how long have you been streaming? Not very long at all. We're just going over the new releases, and I'm only on the second one. Let's see. Oh, Kenzie's right. Warhammer Fest is in UK in May. Yeah, there'll probably some reveals at Warhammer Fest. Thank you for that. How long do you reckon until we have everything from this preview? August. Let me think about the rest of this. Probably a while. I'm thinking the full extent of what we're going to talk about in a little bit won't be out until almost winter. Fall. I'm sorry, not necessarily winter, but fall. August, September. Yeah, August, September is probably about right. Dave says, are dispossessed players disappointed though? There is no battletome unifying the dwarfs. I don't know. I got 1,000 points of Kharadron Overlords there on the shelf, and I was kind of disappointed. When I pulled up the page, the night that everything was revealed, one of the, I guess, panels of imagery they had in the far right was a Kharadron Overlord dude, and I my mouth started to water. And then we didn't get a battletome in there, but that's all right. You know what? Fire Slayers are a cool book. This cover art looks amazing. And there are some truly dedicated players out there that are going to be super happy, and I'm happy for them. So, and I understand the disappointment with Dispossessed, but I like to think that there's something cool for them coming on the horizon. Born from the Sun, do you reckon they will ever do a female Dwarden, or is that against the lore? Well, I want them to. For all the talk about family and lineage in this specific book, like specifically the Dwarden books, to not have half what would theoretically be half the population not present, it is kind of a bummer. I'm not going to lie. You don't need to go into like how they reproduce or anything like that. I mean, I think that's kind of the line they don't want to go near. But I mean, for a book that lore-centric wise is based on lineage and those kinds of things, and having sons lead your family, talking about family more, I think, would only benefit it. So I agree. It'd be cool to have the female stuff, but it's just not in there. Let's see here. What do you think the train is going to do? Well, there's a few things. Looking at it, one of my first thoughts is maybe if you start the turn near it, then you can move and attack something like at a greater efficiency. Like, let's say, like, if a unit starts wholly within 12 inches of this thing, then rest of that turn they get, I don't know, hit rolls of 6 or mortal wounds or something like that. I'm making this all up as I go. The idea being you take a weapon from the forge, get it really hot, and then walk over and hit something really hard and you get a buff. I think that'd be kind of a cool thing. They could also introduce kind of a grander mechanic as far as, right now they have that mechanic where it's like pick a bonus and then roll a die, and on a 6 you get a super bonus. Maybe it enhances that if they decide to go the same direction with the army, which I'm not opposed to. It's a very unique thing. I like it. It's a cool little toolbox. I think, based on what we saw with Flesh Eater Quartz with the Madness chart, it looks like they'll probably keep that same mechanic and then drop it for the specific holds, whatever they call them. Lodges, I'm sorry. I wanted to say magma holds is what I was thinking. So, I don't know. This could have some way of manipulating that. I don't know. I think it'd be kind of cool to go, units pull a hot weapon off the forges or something like that and going about. I think that'd be cool. Let's see. Tyrannosaurus Rex. We really need an updated Seraphon battletome. I agree wholeheartedly. Andrew Howie, why are you not on Patreon? Andrew Howie, I am on Patreon. Go ahead, check the link down below. I have almost 100 patrons, and they are all incredible people who I bounce ideas off of. One of them I just asked about, and we're going to be announcing that this week. So go ahead, check it out. Catch the fever. All right. I hope that Magma Monster is actually just a summonable unit. I'm trying to remember. The problem with the Magmadroth is that, like, part of his back, there's a big gap in his back where the chair is supposed to go for the guy riding it. If that was designed differently so you could fill that in with something else and it could just be a Magmadroth, kind of like how they did with the zombie dragon. And, they have a rider variant, but then there's just zombie dragon. So with the Arachnarok spiders the same way. That'd be kind of cool, but I don't think that kit pans out that way. It's been a while since I built one. I might be wrong. Is there a Stormcast faction terrain piece? If not, do you think there will be? I hope not, simply because their kind of shtick and one of their most powerful abilities in the army is being able to, like, strike down in the lightning and be wherever, which kind of, I feel like the thematic effect of coming down into a battlefield means you weren't already there to set up a terrain piece. So I kind of hope not. If I'm being honest, it's probably in the works because money. Let's see here. David says I need to trade off my rats to get these guys. Yeah, you do. Straight up. It's good stuff. I don't think I have any more. I don't have any more Fire Slayer kits. I think Jack from Rerolling Ones has all of mine. Let's see here. Magmadroth herds like Terrorgeist, but way cooler. I dig it. Awesome. Okay, so I'm just catching up with the chat. I want to make sure I don't miss anyone's comments about Fire Slayers, and then we'll move on to the next thing. A lot of folks talking about needing new Seraphon. I completely agree. I honestly thought this was going to be the reveal where we saw some Seraphon stuff, but I didn't quite pan out. Andrew says, question, do you think we'll get elves soon with Slaanesh coming out? Probably. James says it's probably an armor buff and debuff is what this thing. What do you think about the lodges that you can choose from? We have no information about the lodges, just that they're going to exist. So as far as which ones I think there's going to be, I think they talk about 2 or 3 of them in the book now, but it's just color schemes basically. Yeah. Almost caught up here. Takeover Mars says, we need a new Daughters of Cain book. Evil idea. Talking about the new endless spells. Endless spell, Magma Monster, not the old one. Would be cool if you could summon it as a unit. I don't know, interesting. Terry has a cool idea. I wish they added non-army specific uses for these terrains too. Like if another army claims it mid-game, some Fire Slayer themed buff or debuff. Okay, so yeah, you just make them terrain pieces that benefit everybody, but they give a very special thing to your faction. I think that's a cool idea. I think eventually there's going to be a bubble burst when eventually the game evolves past their kind of current cycle of including terrain and things like that, and then all of a sudden we just have a bunch of terrain for armies, and people have to buy too much stuff. So I think it'll eventually happen. Let's see. Okay, I am pretty much caught up. Y'all are chatting amongst each other, which is awesome. I love to see that. And let's see here. Oh yeah, this thing. So For some reason, when they embed things, I can't pull it up and make it full screen. There's not much here, but it is a short preview of Looncurse, which, I mean, pretty quickly just from looking at it, the idea being... Sorry, I'll read the little quick text here. There's much more in the way for Age of Sigmar, including more battle tomes and an answer to the eternal question: in a fight between trees and mushrooms, who would win? So, obviously, I think we're talking about a Sylvaneth versus Gloomspite Gitz set. Probably in the same vein as... Oh my gosh, what was it called? It's on my shelf. Carrion Empire. Oh my gosh, my brain's not working today. Carrion Empire. Maybe having a new unit for each one, although it'd be interesting to have a new unit for Gloomspite Gitz so soon after their release. Could just be a very affordable way to get that army. But yeah, that's super exciting. No details. As far as like wild speculation, I just want more Kurnoth units, to be honest with you. I love them. They're big, beefy, scary looking. Evil 80 says, Gloomspite versus Wanderers. It'd be cool, for sure. I mean, technically nothing specifically here except that one little Firefly is Sylvaneth. So, I don't know. Alternate sculpts, could be. Could be. Taylor says, hard pass on that box. Yeah, it doesn't... Nothing in that interests me. I was never really enraptured by the Gloomspite Gitz. Like, I love the theme and thematicness of them in the story arc, but the army just didn't grab me in the same way as like Skaven did, for example. And we move into Night Vault, which of course is the, I don't know, cousin game to Sigmar? I don't know. For decades, explorers have tried to break the curse of the Mirrored City using brute force, animal cunning, and the arcane arts with little success. But what about science? Now, this would have been a perfect time to have like the Bill Nye the Science Guy music in the background. But what we get is a pretty cool look at some new Kharadron Overlord models. They went with a chemist for the leader, which I didn't expect, but I'm very, very welcome to the idea because I painted the chemist myself, and I didn't love his sculpt. He's very static, but this guy, he's got his leg up on a rock. He just looks like he means business. These are Thundrix Profiteers, a new warband for Warhammer Underworlds that brings the advanced technology and ruthless profiteering of the Kharadron Overlords into the ultimate competitive miniatures game. So that's looking pretty sweet. Take the models here. So what we got is, looks like we have a Thunderer on the left because they have the heavier clad armor with the basic rifle, which is a good rifle. Most of my units are equipped like that. We have Argonaut Company Bro, sword and pistol, pretty standard layout. Another Argonaut Company Bro with the Gatling gun, but he's like mid-reload, and that is a cool pose. Above them is Balloon Boy, who is... Oh my gosh, he's not an engine rigger. He's... I can't think of what they're called, but the one that people don't build very often. And then, of course, the hero of the group is the Ether Chemist with a really cool alternate pose. And honestly, I can see this guy getting taken just filling in for the generic Ether Chemist because he's so cool looking. I was kind of hoping for something... I don't know. I mean, people have heard my thoughts. Like, give one of them a flare gun and the whole army gets bigger. Oh, Sky Warden. Thank you all so much. He's a Sky Warden. You know, I like them. They're very cool looking models. This guy with his 1 foot on an anchor, he seems equally as flimsy to the rest of them. Although I will say, I think his backpack, the actual balloon of it, it looks a lot more finely detailed on some of the rivets and things like that. I like it. It looks really, really good. Plus the bases always look sweet. And then we're going to pause there because the next thing is where I want to spend most of my time because it's the thing I'm most excited about. But does anyone have any deep thoughts on Profiteers? I'm not going to lie. I was actually with Tom Lyons from Warhammer Weekly that I thought this was going to drop with a new KO book. But no dice. Let's see. Got some chat. Let's see. Optimal Zips. I was so excited for the new troll models, but these Popeye looking fuckers stroked me the wrong way. I like the new troll models quite a bit. I get that. They're certainly not for everyone. Let's see. Honestly, not that excited for this warband, but it means we can move on to Season 3 of Underworld, which is sweet. That's true. I think this does complete all the previews they had for this season of Underworld, so that's kind of exciting. And if it wasn't for our next topic, Warcry, I would be getting in Underworld right now, but it just sucked all the love that I have for... all the capacity I have for another skirmish game out. Has anyone asked the question yet, when is the Slaanesh book coming out? We haven't talked about Slaanesh yet. That's at the end of the article, but we'll get there. KO are probably my least favorite AOS army. I like them. I love the models. I painted up 1,000 points of them just to have for when they get a new book. But right now, that's what they are. They're wall art. Just because I don't feel like I'm having a solid game. Anyway, let's see. We are going to... Okay, yeah, that was it. There's a little more fluff text, but that's pretty much it. There's not a lot going on as far as Warhammer Underworld's new faction with that. So, the big thing that I'm excited for is Warcry. If you don't know, Warcry was teased, I won't say announced, but teased at the last big reveal where it's a skirmish game. They said there's going to be 6 Chaos factions. It's set in... kind of Archeon's little pocket realm, and it's very exciting. But that led a lot of people to be thinking it's not AOS Kill Team, where you take existing model lines and things like that and play the game with that, just on a different level. It's more like AOS Necromunda, where it's a different model line, different war bands that are completely isolated. Maybe they'll work in the main game, maybe they won't. Necromunda models don't work, for the most part, in 40k. But it does have incredible Forge World support with all kinds of alternate heads and arms and weapons and all kinds of cool stuff. And I was excited for both of them. Like, whatever comes, I'm pumped for it. Mainly because I filmed that one. Chat's working anyway. I filled that one battle report video. Sorry, there's a comment here that kind of threw me off. Battle report, and it was really hard to get a 6x4 table in my little office. But doing something like a Kill Team or Necromunda size thing, I could easily do that. So I was very pumped about it. Well, we got a whole bunch of new news. First of all, they introduced a new army. Well, they let us know about a new army coming up. And let's take a look here. The Iron Golems. And these are Chaos Warriors. Let me just make sure things are playing. Okay. Someone left a chat, a comment that made me think my stream was broken. But, yeah. I'm pretty pumped about that. So they're Chaos Warriors from the Realm of Metal, and so it reflected in their weapons and armor and stuff like that. So I'm going to read the text here. Like all Warcry warbands, the Iron Golems offer a more complex, nuanced take on Chaos than we've ever seen before. The Iron Golem miniatures combine classic Chaos aesthetics with cultural cues based on the mortal realms from which they originate. Hailing from the Realm of Metal, these warriors are renowned for their quality of their smithing, believing themselves chosen by Archeon himself to forge arms and armor for the slaves to darkness. So that is incredibly cool. I'm just going to pull up some of the sculpts. A lot of these we saw, because this is one of the 2 factions that comes in the main box. And I absolutely love it. And people were like, oh, it's the Khorne army. No, they're just in red, but they're not necessarily Khorne. And I think that is exactly the route that they wanted to go, because there's no Khorne iconography. It's just tinted red. I want to see the tutorial for how they got that red for sure, because I love it. Love it, love it, love it. But, so we got a big Warhammer here. And there's actually a few interesting things about this faction. One is I love the helmets. The very tiny visor, no mouth slit. These little, like, it's a collection of, like, circlets to make, like, crossing over plates. Just really, really cool stuff. The skin is a weirdly pale color. Almost look like Namarti type stuff. Warcry offers us the opportunity to explore Chaos not just as the bad guys, but as living, breathing cultures and allows us to look at facets of chaos rarely seen on the tabletop. Iron Golems, for example, count not just humans among their number, but Duarden and ogres. So, here we have our nice ogre guy, who is decked out the exact same way as the rest of them. They just cut off his arms and threw on a bunch of like mauls and stuff like that. I love it. And of course, a stocky little Duarden who has beard chainmail to match. I love it. I love it. I love it. So the Chaos Dwarf is actually one of the coolest things ever. The fact that they, with Necromunda, a lot of the gangs, it comes in a box, but fundamentally they all look very much the same. There's a few random solos and stuff you can throw in, like mercenaries into your gang, but fundamentally a lot of the units look very, very similar. Whereas like we're already seeing here that they're including like different races and stuff, and that is just neat. Because technically now we have, I guess, the first Age of Sigmar Chaos Dwarf and Chaos Ogre. I mean, the Legion of Asgore exists only in as much Forge World acknowledges it, but there's no books about them or anything like that, so that's interesting. Warcry will also let you explore the terrifying fauna of Chaos, just as Gryph-hounds and Aetherwings show the sorts of creatures that dwell in the Azir. Warcry reveals an assortment of Chaos critters, including the new Plastic Furies and Raptorixes. Ill-tempered creatures capable of bisecting a man with a snap of their beak. So here's the Fury. It's great. Little gargoyle dude. Looks like he's going to break in about 0.5 seconds and me holding him. That's okay, though. He's going to look great doing it. And the Raptorixes, who is somewhere between a turkey and a velociraptor, but elements of a platypus in his face. Interesting enough for like everyone thinking these guys are like corn dogs, because they do have that. The warband was a cornate because they were red armor. He does have kind of a little baby food bib going on like the corn dogs do. Let's see here. So that's basically about the Iron Golems. I thought that was very interesting. They're going some cool directions as far as including more things in Chaos, diversifying the kind of units you see, what Chaos looks like. I'm very excited for that idea of look at facets of Chaos, blah, 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 and they kind of, making Chaos seem like living, breathing cultures. I think that's super important. It's what I wanted from the Dark Oath book, and it's what, if you've seen my review on War Queen, the novella, it's what they did there, and it's really, really spectacular. So let's see here. And we're just getting started. We've got more warbands on the way and models to reveal to you yet. So the first thing they showed us was 6 total warbands. So this is obviously the Iron Golem symbol right here. And there are 5 more. The one with the ram head over here on the top left is the other half of the starter set that we've seen in some pictures. But yeah. And then the next thing is, but what if you are unshakably loyal to Sigmar, Nagash, or the sheer raw power of destruction? Well, good news. At launch, 9 non-chaos factions will be available to play with rules of their own. See if you can guess what they are. See if you can just guess what they are. Okay, so why are you not letting me open this? Oh, it's weird. It's like a different format of picture. Sometimes the guys make this blog post a little confusing to me. So, okay, before we go into wild speculation time, that means at launch there's going to be 15 factions for this skirmish level game. That is really cool, and I think we need to be patient because that requires an immense amount of balancing. So if things are wonky the first few months, let it ride. They'll fix it. Just sit in that. That is my expectation when you say a game starts with 15 armies. So, let's see here. So Iron Golems, you heard that in the center. That's the one from this preview. The Ram Dudes are the other half of the starter set. And then going counterclockwise here, looks like Bone Splitters. They have bones with the same ropes going between the teeth and a lot of their shields and stuff like that. This one said, my favorite was this guy on Facebook just came up with ridiculous guesses. He was like, Whirlpool Elves, Night Lords, Gloomspite Gits. I don't know what he said with that one, but this looks like Iron Jaws. This is the same kind of skull symbol you see a lot on the old Dark Elf models. I can't think of what they're called. Darkling Covens. I'm assuming some kind of Azir type thing. I resist saying Stormcast Eternals because that is not their symbol. But you can have humans that come from Azir because they're all over the books. My goodness, there's a lot of them in the books. But yeah, I think there's just going to be a lot of cool stuff here. So these are always my wild speculations. I don't have a guess for every one of them. But I'm more interested in the fact that there's going to be 15 factions at start than about which ones there are. You know, after seeing these models, I'm like, I don't even try to guess. I'm like, just entertain me. Oh, I love it. So I'm very excited about Warcry. Between the terrain possibilities, the factions, the fact that it has a focus on chaos but is not limiting itself to that, I think is very important. I want to keep that focus, but again, I understand not wanting to be limited. So we're going to hop over the chat here and see what people are saying about some of this stuff. About the Warcry here. Oh man, y'all are chatting a lot about this. Yeah, it's an exciting topic. Rand says, question, do you think the Storm Vaults are filled with a new type of elves? Because it does say Teclis and Sigmar are working together. It does, but they've been working together for quite some time. I don't think there's elves necessarily inside of it. I think there's weapons and artifacts and stuff like that. It seems to be what I was thinking from the gist of what the way the wording was. Evil Yeti, anyone else feel like they decided to add the non-chaos factions to Warcry after the backlash? I highly doubt that. It takes so long to produce these things and create the graphics and the marketing. I have zero doubt. I think they wanted to... I think it was purposeful to only show the chaos stuff because I think Chaos Undivided players have kind of gotten a raw deal for a long time. That's why my Slaves to Darkness are sitting in the closet. I don't want to play anything else. I want to play Undivided. So I think it was specifically to get them excited and then for everyone else to get super on board. They announced everything else. The fact that it's all available at launch tells me that they had been planning all 15 of those factions for quite some time because Warcry already exists and is probably being shipped to regional areas right now. It comes out in the summer, but the amount of time it takes to do the printing and the boxing and the shipping across continents, it's already done. It was already there by the time they announced it, for sure. Cold Shoulder, 8 out of the 9 Chaos factions were hinted at for Warcry. Nighthaunt, Vampires, Gloomspite, Ironjaws, Ogres, Stormcast, Daughters of Cain, and Ideneth. I don't think it's Stormcast. I'm gonna make a wager. I don't think it's Stormcast as we know them. But I think it'd be cool. Warcry is not exclusively Chaos, Taylor. That was kind of the new news we got from here. Let's see here. Pessimistic page, I like that. While we don't know the details on Warcry yet, I'm optimistic and really excited for it. Worst case, the game sucks and we get cool new models and terrain. Exactly. The stuff we've seen that's going to be coming out is all incredible. I have a lot of faith in the game system. I think they've been really aggressively learning from every one of the game systems they've produced. And like, even if it's, trying to word this. So like they came out with the new version of Necromunda and began expanding that. And then they learned from that and made Kill Team. And can you imagine what they learned from combining those two things to make a new game that is more approachable than Necromunda, that doesn't have the same problem of like, now you have to own 60 books to play the frickin' game, because I want to play Necromunda, but I refuse to pay $300 to play a game that's supposed to be like, buy a $35 box of minis, that kind of stuff. Anyway, I think they've learned a whole lot, and so the product of those two things coming together for fantasy, it's going to be awesome. Let's see here. I'm here late. I don't know what's going on, but keep her secrets. We'll get there in a second. That's the next thing, because it goes into a bunch of 40K. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your last name. Tubo stuff. They also mentioned that most of them will get War Scrolls attached to Slaves to Darkness. Was in a Q&A, I believe. Haven't heard that, but I'd be interested, for sure. These guys, I would absolutely... The theme of my Slaves to Darkness is they're from their own metals. These guys would fit right in. I dig it. You know what's awesome about Warcry? Chaos Ogres and Dwarfs. Yep, these guys right here. I like it. Let's see. Takeover Mars asks why anyone expected to see Tomb Kings. The truth of the matter is, it was a lot of wishful thinking because there was a lot of Egyptian-esque iconography in some of the preview spoiler stuff. People were like, Cetra. I missed the Cetra boat. I came in too late in the fantasy battles, but people dig them. Let's see. 2019 is the year of chaos. I dig it. Let's see. And I understand Legion of Asgore is a thing, but they're not supported in the same way as a normal army. I mean, I think that's pretty evident. If you ask anyone who actually play Legions of Asgore if they feel like they're a chaos army that's fully supported, probably not. I'm going to skip ahead just to get caught up. Okay, we have a lot of speculations about those symbols. My favorite was the Facebook post guy. He was like, Night Lords, and this thing, and that thing. He just came up with like the most ridiculous guesses. Can't wait for the Warcry chamber to be opened. I like it. Bone Splitters, Daughters of Cain, Flesh Eater Courts, Gabos, Hopefully Free Guild, Night Haunt, Iron Jaws, I don't know. I don't want this to be Stormcast. I want this to be something else from Azir, because I think that would be really cool. 15 factions, just not Seraphon. Yeah, they've always had a tough time putting Seraphon in stories and stuff like that. So, okay, and you guys are chatting amongst yourselves. That's awesome. All right. So we're going to jump into what is pretty much the main event. Let's be honest. We're going to skip all this 40k stuff. Oh, if you guys haven't seen this, go watch it. They made a parody of the 50 Shades of Grey movie trailer, but they did it with his quote-unquote pleasure room is just plastic models. There you go. Look at that. I love it. This is the best. It actually is hilarious. You should go watch that. Community survey. If you guys haven't yet, or I guess it's not live yet, but when it does go live, please go participate in the survey and give helpful answers. Don't give snarky ones. They really did a terrific job of reviewing information last year. Please help them out. And then we get into Realm of Chaos, which is, pause here for a second. So Realm of Chaos was the big technical title of Wrath and Rapture, which is the umbrella that had the new Khorne stuff and the new Slaanesh stuff. So I never bought Wrath and Rapture. I think that's what it's called, something like that. But I'm interested to see like if that's going to be like this subtitle they use to release demon specific stuff, because demons work for so many different factions, because they have 40k demons, they have AOS demons. Now they're in Horus Heresy, like the 30k stuff. So it's interesting. Takeover Mars. Since we're moving to Slaanesh, is it weird that I feel like I am abandoning and or betraying my Daughters of Cain for collecting and building Slaanesh now? No, absolutely not. Slaanesh was so integral into their creation, might as well be the parent god of Daughters of Cain. Hey-o. All right. So I just thought that was interesting. Realm of Chaos, they're maintaining that. It'd be cool because it would allow them to have one subtitle for projects that released things for so many different factions. So we'll take a look at this because full screen unavailable. I don't know how they do that. And they have the world's creepiest voice actress, her. And so we're keeping the same demonettes, and they have pictures for tons of this stuff, so we're going to go through the pictures here in a second. And it just looks absolutely incredible. I see a lot of people asking about a mortal version of Slaanesh. We'll get to that in a second. Let's let that preview. So we have the Hedonites of Slaanesh. Your eyes do not deceive you. A host of gorgeous new model kits kick off a new era of the Dark Prince, including an all-new Keeper of Secrets. So this So, let's play a game. So this is what we had before. Okay, Derposaurus Rex. And this is what we have now. And I think that's awesome. Actually, I mean, so I brought this up to show, to bring much shame and dishonor to this model, but they actually took a lot of the really cool elements from it, meaning they have hoofed feet that morph into a more graceful body, which the new one does as well. Does it a lot better, of course. And of course, you have two pincer arms along with two more traditional arms. They inverted them, so the pincers are on top on the new model, whereas the old one, they're on bottom. But it just, the same elements are there. The horn head, kind of got that bull head thing going on. So I think it was a really cool, I don't know, passing on of a new version of this model. I absolutely love it. Jack is foaming at the mouth right now, so I'm going to just... Dave says full screen view. Yeah, no, it doesn't work. The way they embed this stuff on this page, it prohibits full screen view. I clicked on it for you. Jack says, I own Flesh Eater Quartz, Corn, Fire Slayers, and Slaanesh. Yes. Yes, you do. You also had, yeah. Poor guy. So, checking out this stuff. Okay. Well, this is apparently the most popular thing. The chat just exploded into 1 million pieces. So I'm just going to go through the article, and then we'll come back and we'll try to pick up the pieces of the chat. So, we've come a long way since the Keeper of Secrets first graced the worlds of Warhammer and Realm of Chaos, Slaves to Darkness, which is that ancient book that brought us the first one. At once monstrous and beautiful, the new Keeper of Secrets is one of the most striking and unusual Warhammer miniatures ever designed. Drawing on decades of art and lore, this model manages the nigh impossible task of creating a creature that's both terrifying and alluring, sinuous, elegant, and predatory. It is the epitome of everything fans love about Slaanesh. Tempted, we don't blame you. So, I think it's going to be huge, which is awesome. One of the things, it has to look statuesque, and it has to look beautiful, right? And I think it captures that. I want it to be incredibly fast in the battlefield. Like, it should be terrifying. I want to read books that involve it because it looks... I can get a visual for it, and it just sounds awesome. So we got a picture of a tail coming out, which is great. I think that same kind of texturing of the tail, the scales, kind of matches the striders where they are. It is going to be a multi-kit because I don't think... Yeah, she doesn't have a shield in the bigger picture. So there are going to be a few options, which is fantastic. That shield is beautiful looking. And on this side, yeah, just a good close-up of the crab claw. Really, really dig it. Keeper of Secrets will be joined by a number of new Slaanesh models that bring to life a magnificent and richly realized cast of demon champions from a new iteration of the Mask. So a new Mask model to Sileski, that's how I'm saying that, an unholy tag team of Demon Prince and Herald. So let's take a look here. First of all, we got this guy. A tag team of Demon Prince and Herald. If that's the direction they go with Demon Princes, I love it. He just looks like the beauty of man magnified, and I just think that's exactly what Slaanesh should be going for. This is one of my favorite models for this new release here. This, I assuming, is our new Mask, and I absolutely love it. Oh, it's so cool looking. I wish this one had 360 because I feel like her arm is kind of in the way, in a weird position here. I imagine it's more out forward, but because we're looking straight on, it doesn't quite look right. So that's neat. This is my favorite model, if anyone's curious, from the new pictures we saw. As far as this big, I don't know, mirror. I don't know what it's supposed to be. I'm not quite sure. We'll read the article in a second. But I just think this is great. The wicked smiles on these two just look creepy as all get out. The legs and the pincers, it all just works together. I love it. This is with so much new stuff for Slaanesh on the way. It's only fitting with the Dark Prince and his followers should receive a new battletome with allegiance abilities for the 3 hosts of Slaanesh. Perfect. We're maintaining that. The Invaders, the Godseekers, and Pretenders, as well as updated war scrolls, spell lores, and more. Battletome Hedonites of Slaanesh will cement these warriors of excess as a major player in both the setting of Warhammer Age of Sigmar and on the tabletop. So that is exciting. So here's the book cover. Demonette looking just rough. Now, one thing that was brought up a bunch in the chat already, and then also, there, put my phone down, is the idea of Slaanesh Mortals. I don't know how much they're going to invest in Slaanesh Mortals, to be honest with you. I'm not quite sure. The fact that they're getting their own spell lore and more enhanced, or at least more in-depth, like sub-factions, I think it helps. You have the thing is that we don't know what they're doing with Chaos Undivided. So if they made it so that a whole bunch of the new, I don't know, Slaves to Darkness, Dark Oath, whatever you want to call them, units can be Slaanesh, you have to also consider that they're kind of thinking about having those work with this army. So the overall sum total of units I might have access to is bigger. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. Nothing they've pointed at least in the cover art or art, seems to indicate specific Chaos God Mortals for Slaanesh. Sorry, I'm getting really tired here. My brain's falling apart. This is the endless spells they have, and my favorite is the center, the mirror. But I love that of the 3 of them. So you have the little blades that come on the Doomplayer chariot thing. I don't know what it's called, the chariots. The middle thing is a hand holding up a mirror, looks like, which I like. Just like vanity is this entrapping thing, and then also a face of a demonette lashing out some tongue. So I don't know what they're all going to do. I mean, the 2 on the ends seem like straight up damage ones. They just seem like something you don't want to be near. The middle one I'm very interested in, as far as what the actual effect is. So yeah. So and that's it from Adepticon this year. Let us know what you think. Yeah, so I'm very, very excited. I'm going to open the chat up here just for a couple minutes and then turn it off because, like I said, I'm not feeling too well after my flight. Got back so late. All right. Pepe, do you think there's going to be a new mortal side to Slaanesh, or just going to be demons in the battletome? All we see is demons right now. They might show us more later, but that's all we got. So I have no idea. Let's see here. Have you spoken about the Gloomspites versus Sylvaneth / Wanderers box? I did for about 2 minutes because we don't know anything other than it's Sylvaneth possibly. Some people are insinuating Wanderers, and I'm sure we'll be very disappointed when it is in fact Sylvaneth, but there's nothing to talk about because they didn't really preview anything, just that it exists. Is the terrain piece the mirror? Okay, so is this a terrain piece? That'd be kind of cool. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be very big. It'd be one of the smaller pieces we've seen. Let's see here. Yeah, the Gloomspite and Sylvaneth thing is 100% speculation at this point. We don't know anything. Let's see. Old Witch Doctor says, I think the new Keeper of Secrets looks great and really shows off a lot of the aspects of Slaanesh without overemphasizing the sexual aspects like the Forge World model does. And I agree. The only thing I haven't seen from their release is Gluttony, which is something they talk about a lot in the books, but not something we've seen. Like, there's no fat guys. No, I think, it looks like very statuesque, which is exactly a word that is perfect for describing Slaanesh. It just looks incredible. I want to see tutorials on the blending they do with the purple and the white, or the pale skin, not technically white. And it just looks great. So I would actually love it if they came out with a new paint color to make this exact tone of gray. I think that would look really, really nice. But I agree. I think a theme across all these things is you convey the idea of Slaanesh, but nothing is hypersexualized. Nothing's creepy. You know, they look evil, but they don't look. It doesn't look like too much. You know what I mean? And I like that. Her hairdo is a little bit intense. It's just kind of. I mean, I've seen trailer parks in Texas with ladies with haircuts like that. I'm just saying, it's a bit much, but I like it. Let's see here. I love the direction they've gone with the Slash Reigns. Exactly. Yeah, I think when I think about combining this with the new, they called, is it Seekers? The new beast that came out in the Wrath of Neptune box. They just look great. All of it just looks great. Let's see here. The top arm of the mask is giving a little Hitler salute. Oh, that's what I mean. I think a lot of these things that need a 360. I think this is probably the biggest reveal where, more than anything, all I want is 360 views, because a lot of the angles they took the pictures from just don't quite look right. I can't quite figure out what they're going for. But yeah. I'm sorry, I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit to catch up with the chat, because I just keep falling far behind. And you all are talking amongst each other, which is awesome. 5 books announced / released since the new year, with another assumed for Sylvaneth. How many books do you think we should expect this year? I mean, what I've been saying for a while is that I want them to focus that same energy that pumped out all the 40k books in a year and a half. Put that towards AOS and make sure everyone who's been waiting for 3 freaking years, like any elf player who isn't Daughters of Cain, who's been sitting in their high elves for forever, gets a book. So I would want 14 books in a year and a half, but that's what I want, because there's so many people who have just waited way longer than they ever needed to. Jet says, "Hey there, Doug. Hope you had a good time with your family in Wyoming." No, it was Iowa. We got back at 1 o'clock in the morning last night, so I'm exhausted. So I'm actually gonna hop off here in a little bit, just to give my body a chance to rest. Surprised they kept the androgynous theme going. It's good they are. Yeah, I like it. It works. It works out. But you know, it doesn't. Like what I like, for example, right? I like the fact that their smiles are the creepiest things about them. Like the outfits and the legs, and it's weird, but the androgyny thing doesn't pull the attention away from what they're created. It's the smile that makes it creepy AF. And I feel the same way about all these things, right? Like for him, it's not about being male or female, which they seem to be. Well, this is a demon, so it's androgynous, but possibly male or female with this guy. He looks like it definitely looks male. But nothing seems weird between the two of them. And then for the mask, like same thing. Like it just, there's a lot of other creepy things that scream Slaanesh, that the sexuality and the androgyny, that kind of stuff isn't the focus, and that's actually really a high compliment. Is that mask dabbing? I'm gonna say yes, because they didn't give us a 360 view. Robert Crozier. David mentioned he wants to trade his rats for naked ginger dwarfs. I have naked ginger dwarfs and I want rats. Well, that's amongst yourselves. Let's see here. Lorgar, Bearer of the Word. Warcry is launching with the rules for 9 other factions than Chaos. Yeah, we already talked about Warcry. Went into that. Made speculations. But yeah, so we have concluded the article. So in case you're joining us late, we talked about Forbidden Power, Fire Slayers. We touched on the fact that what do they call it? Looncurse is a thing. The disappointment of KO, Warbands, and Warcry. All about those things. So that is awesome. There's a lot of stuff going on. Once I get rested and have some more cohesive thoughts, I'll be doing videos about them. But I'm very excited about all of it. and hope you are too. So friends, that'll conclude this stream about all kinds of stuff, and I will talk to you all very, very soon in my next video. Hope to have, 2 out this week, just because I'm selling back into life and not feeling super hot. But I will see you then. Thank you all so much.